Okay, so yeah, we got an interesting film via Signature this week called Black Flies. Right? It's also, I think, known in some places as Asphalt City. So you might see it under one of those names depending on where you are, I guess. It is directed by Jean-Stéphane Sauveur, written by Ben McBrown and Ryan King. It is produced by Eric Gold, Warren Guz, Christopher Kopp, Jean Ira Palmer, Ty Sheridan, Lucan Toy, Tina Wang, and John Wildermuth. Executive produced by Mitchell Zhang, Matthew Sidari, Luke Rogers, Tom Ottenberg, James Masciello, Shannon Burke, Jamie Buckner, and Babak Anvari. Co-executive produced by Gia Masan. Co-produced by Trevor Osmond. And yeah, that is that. Right, music was handled by Nicholas Becker and Quentin Sejak. David Ungaro took care of the cinematography. Sia Klein and Katie McQuarrie were on editing. Casting, we have Laurie Eastside, Robert Suzuka was a production design. Set decoration, we have Jonah Landy. Stacy Jansen took care of costume design, hair, makeup, prosthetics, all of that stuff. Eric Zatapa, Shane Shishimburan, Laya Parks, Shannon Ray Mulligan, Rob Harmon, Jeffrey Brophy, and Ben Bornstein. So our cast. We have got Sean Bean as Gene Rotkovsky. Ty Sheridan is Ollie Cross. Jemga Akinagbe is Verdis. Michael Pitt is LaFontaine. They're all colleagues of Cross and Rubanowski's. We've got also Mike Tyson is their chief, Chief Burrows. Who else have we got? We've got Raquel Nave as Clara. Catherine Waterstone is Nancy. Callie Reyes is Nia. Dr. Towers is played by Shelley Burrell. Lieutenant Russell is Daniel Folt. Yeah, I mean, there's just a load of like Officer 1 and Officer 2s and, all of that kind of thing. But there are main players in the film, as it were. So that's always, yeah. The gist is Ollie Cross, a young paramedic assigned to the NYC night shift with an uncompromising and seasoned partner, Gene Rotowski. The dark nights reveal a city in crisis. Rosowski guides Cross as each 911 call is often dangerous and uncertain, putting their lives on the line every day to help others. Cross soon discovers firsthand the chaos and awe of a job that careens from harrowing to heartfelt, testing his relationship with Rakowski and the ethical ambiguity that can be the difference between life and death. So, yeah, this is actually based on a 2008 book of the same name from Shannon Burke. So, yeah. Now, I gotta say, right, there's Ty Sheridan, Ready Player One. That was a little goofy, you know, and not because it's sci-fi. I just thought like some of the choices made, yeah, weren't always the best, but I mean, it wasn't terrible, you know. But this role, yo, Sheridan really shows out. You know what I mean? Definitely, you know, it delivers a good performance here. As this is a gritty film, you know what I mean? It's just that kind of giving you that kind of raw, authentic look at New York and what paramedics go through, right? Because Cross, for him, he's, you know, trying to do his doctor's exam. So he's just doing this while he's studying, right? While he's doing the exam. He failed the first time, so he's, you know, his second attempt, but to get more experience, just all of that. That's why he's there. He's not trying to do this for life, you know? And you can see he's got an idealistic view of what the job is until, right, you start coming across some of the harrowing situations. And then you've just got, you know, the dickheads that you have to put up with who work with you, right? Michael Pitt. So we see a lot of this, which is interesting, right? I think they did a great job of de-setting the ambience of the city, right? Giving you that vibe. This isn't, you know, glamorous, right? It's not like some of those shows you see on TV, whether it be ER, Grey's Anatomy, you know what I mean? They're a bit too shiny for what this is. So they've done a great job with that. And we do get some very good performances. We definitely get some very good performances, you know? Sean Bean, Sean Penn. Sean Bean is a different character, you know what I mean? But Penn, Pitt, Sheridan, Akinakpi, you know, Walter Stone, Tyson was good. Nave, you know, Reese, she killed it. Right? It's funny, we got two former boxing champions in this film, right? But yeah, we got some really good performances from everyone involved, you know? So that's all fire. Now, what it's trying to show you, right? As said in the synopsis, you know, that it's looking at the ethical ambiguity. I mean, ethical ambiguity. That's an interesting one, right? I feel that's definitely an interesting way to put it. You know, because ambiguity, right? The quality of being open to more than one interpretation. I don't really think ambiguity is the word, right? It's not an interpretation of what this is. It's a God complex. It is the holding life in your hands and making a decision that isn't yours to make. That's what it is, you know, which is interesting, right? And there's certain things like that are thrown out there. But when you consider that, right, you consider that there are thousands of paramedics, you know, doctors, just all of these people, nurses. And we know it happens. People kill people, right? We know it happened. There was that woman last year, I think, in the UK, that nurse who was just killing so many people, right? And yeah, she got caught, but it took a while. But it's just like, what's in place to stop that kind of thing? You know, it's like they deal with this one case is so crazy. And that is kind of the repercussions do, yeah, do follow. But I think the thing is, it's like we skirt the surface of it, right? We play around slightly, but we're not going deep. You know what I mean? It's just hand stuff, no penetration. You feel me? That's what this is. And it would have been good to really get in there because there are certain, you know, things that follow that you feel it would have been good to get more on that, or more on why that happens, why we go there. Like one of the things is pretty predictable. One of the other things, right, because you get the after a certain thing, you get the inclination that that wasn't the first, right? But we don't know that as viewers. You don't know that. That is just an assumption that you might make. Now, not to say that anyone's in the wrong for. I mean, well, someone's in the wrong, but the other person isn't, right? For how it's handled. But it went there for because of a reason, and that's not really addressed. You know, that's it. We get a lot of shouting, but yeah, there's certain things that aren't addressed, and you just think, oh man, I really wish we delved into that. Because when you think about these situations, you know, having to walk into hell on so many occasions, right? Your hand elbow deep inside people trying to keep them alive. That's gonna leave a mark. It's gonna leave a mark. So to really look at what that could be, why that is, the measures, right? The interventions in place to try and help, right? And people's willingness to do those things, right? Are they lip service or are they legitimately there to help, right? That's all the questions. And we don't get any sort of answer because we're just skirting over everything like that. And that's a real shame. That because I think if we had touched on that, this film really shines, right? It's decent. It does get a little cliche, you know? You do like there's bits and bobs that are predictable. Bits and bobs that are predictable. And you kind of think, okay, yes, I get it. But I'm sure not all places are like that, right? I'm not all sure. I'm not convinced everything has to go in that way. So it would have been good to get certain kind of different approaches and things like that, right? Because you kind of feel that this the situation with Cross's girl, like the girl he's kind of seeing, who is Nancy, I believe, right? Walter Stone's character. I mean, it could have been. No, I think it's Clara. Yeah, I think it's Raquel Neve. I think Nancy is Rutkowski's ex. I believe that's what it is. Um, but yeah, the Clara situation, it would have been like to get a bit more on that, right? To delve into that a little bit more. It's a shame we don't. You know what I mean? It's a shame we don't. But yeah, it is what it is. Look, it's going to be available on all VODs from the 19th, Friday. It's definitely worth a look. You know what I mean? It's definitely worth a look. It's man, trying to think of what's it's kind of in the vein of. Like, oh shit, there was a really good film. Gosh, I think in 2019 called Destroyer, right, with Nicole Kidman. That was like, yeah, you know, kind of gritty, dealing with that shit. It's kind of on those veins. Now, Destroyer, stronger film, but yeah, kind of similar, you know, tonally. There you go with that one. Yeah, so if you like that kind of film, then Black Flies, aka Asphalt City, could be for you. Right? I did think this was called Black Files at first. I was like, Black Files, right? And then it's just like, but why? What are the files? I'm not quite sure. And then it's Black Flies, which does make sense as you get into the visit. There's this thing that's talked about, right? There's this thing that's talked about. So it does kind of make sense. But yeah, I did get a little mixed up. But anyway, Black Flies out the 19th of April, people, on VOD.